We've talked a lot about power rankings and how the national, voices view Seattle, and some aren't that optimistic. Some feel like the over under number is 7.5 wins for this team. And do you have a sense of feeling like, yeah, I think they're going to be better than last year, or maybe they're going to take a step back? Where are you at with this team?
I would, if I was a gambling man, I would put that money on the over. Listen, I think obviously Geno Smith kind of took a step back last year. He had some injury issues, had some things. I mean, everybody, gets injured, gets dinged up or whatever. But I think he's closer to the guy. I think he's closer to the guy who went to the Pro Bowl, and was absolutely awesome the year before than he was to the guy that we saw last year. So I think he takes another step forward and kind of mimics or comes closer to what he was a year ago. One thing I'll tell you about, Michael Macdonald, after watching him in Baltimore and watching that defense play, I think he's an outstanding, obviously, teacher of the game, but just tactician, X's and O's guy. And he's one of those guys that really does a great job with pressure, where pressure is coming from, how to attack a protection. And the bottom line is, you want to be good at pressuring the quarterback, you have to understand the protections, right? You have to have an understanding of what the offense is trying to do and where they are trying to get, who they're trying to help, and how they're trying to actually get to you as a defense. So it really, truly becomes about how many times can we get their weakest link or their weakest side, matched up one-on-one, and how do we do that through bringing blitzes or through bringing fake blitzes and all those kind of things. So he's really good at that aspect of it. So I would expect that defense to take a step forward just in the pressure aspect of that defense. And you guys know this. If you pressure, one great corner can take away one receiver. A great pass rush, a great pressure package. Wow, that came out a little bit funny. But
boy, this is going to be a good TV show. Package. Good Lord.
Yeah, exactly. And anytime you have a great, package for pressure, you can really eliminate all the receivers. And that's really the key to me. How well can you pressure the opponent's quarterback? So I think that's to me the big time aspect of what we're looking about, and I think that defense will just be better because of it.
You've noticed about Mike Macdonald as being a teacher, and I thought that's kind of an interesting way to put it. I mean, that's kind of what John Schneider was going after, and I don't know if you've got a chance to talk to him too much, Mark, but the one of the things I really like about him is his directness, like his as far as a communicator. And I always loved coaches like that. Like the older you get, the more you just want a guy to tell you in the fewest number of words, how do I do this? And he really comes off that way. And I think, I don't know if that was something that you noticed about whether it was Alex Gibbs or any of the coaches that coach you, but I so appreciate that, because sometimes you'll hear, my brother always says, if you want to get from A to B, if you want directions, you want the least number of words possible. And I feel like that's kind of what you get from Mike Macdonald. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I think, and I haven't really talked to him. I've heard him speak. I've talked to some other people that he coached with, and that's been kind of the rub on who he is. And I think the other thing, when it comes to directness, Dave, like when you get somebody who's really direct, they're very honest usually as a coach. And I think as players, like we all want a level of honesty that we can really absorb. And so if you think I stink, hey, man, that's what I want to hear. And then I want to know, how am I going to get better, right? So that to me is the big thing. I don't need a bunch of fluff, and I don't need a bunch of, pump me up and like Tua, well, he was never nice to me. And like, I don't care. There's no virgin meat on my ass. It has all been chewed. I want to know how I'm going to get better. And I want the guy that's going to be honest with me, that's going to be direct with me, that's going to coach me up and help me to do exactly what I want to do, which is to go out on the football field and dominate. That's what I want. So those guys, to me, I always appreciated the guys that were just brutally honest, because you know what? There was no fluff. You're just going to you're either going to respond and get better, or, you're going to get gone. That's the way that works.